Not recording.
How's it work? Oh, on the inside thing?
Tony's over here still redacting his eyes out. I really don't think it's that big of a deal.
No, it's not that big a deal. We're trying to make a little bit of an effort so people have to search for it if they want to.
You got 8 people watching.
Oh, no shit. On YouTube, huh? That's cool.
It's across everyone.
Oh, sure. Oh, total? Oh, that's not so good. Then the countdown.
I think he already said that we're live.
Oh, we're live?
Yeah, you can't watch off that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
Put his
is that
fucking
light?
phone
This
away.
thumb.
Is that light?
You saw his giant
5 seconds,
thumb.
and then this comes out 5 seconds
Yeah.
after I said 5 seconds.
5,
Oh, you said 5 seconds?
4, 3.
Oh, we're live now? What's up, guys? Welcome to the Institute of Higher Earning Deal Review section. So we posted some stuff on Facebook. We're doing our first YouTube Live.
Yeah,
Second YouTube Live. First YouTube Live. We have 90,000 followers. We just cracked the 90,000 follower thing on YouTube this morning. That's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
How do we do that?
4 years running now.
A lot of work, right?
Fucking nonstop
What'd you get?
perseverance.
A lot of deals, man.
A lot of deals. Just keep going.
I think we went really viral on a squatter video. That
Well, yeah, it always helps when
Like,
you
really
kick people out and you record it. So
We should kick people out more often.
try not to.
We'd rather get paid.
Yeah,
Can I get
kicking
kicked out?
people out costs money,
Are we
and
gonna
it's
get
not
paid?
fun.
Oh.
Usually, you're only getting paid when you're selling the house and stuff. So, Tony's done redacting. What
All right.
What are we discussing today? Open up my email.
We're talking about the biggest trend in the real estate industry. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. And stuff that we're seeing that's just getting screwed up. Are we allowed to cuss on this, Tommy?
It's,
Or do we get like, it's probably better if we don't for like the algorithms. Okay, no cussing for the first 10 minutes. You got that, Nick?
I'm not the one that cursed.
I know. Well, I stopped myself halfway. What are we seeing? We're seeing deals go bad. So what happens? What did I say in my post? Because I think my post actually nailed it. Not that your post wasn't bad,
It's the hidden risks
but
and pitfalls.
What the thing that's been bugging me is everybody gets into Subto deals in particular because they're all marketed to using other people's capital, right? You can get into real estate easily, risk-free, low risk, using other people's capital. You can be a gator lender. They're using all these terms that are it's just marketing. That's all they're doing. They're creating their own marketing, which God bless them the goods of. But at the end of the day, you're teaching people how to do shady deals.
Tony, can I out you really quick?
Sure.
As the one homosexual in the room, what does the word unicorn mean to you?
Like,
Oh, I don't know. They got unicorns now. I'm just curious what it means to you.
wait, what's a unicorn?
Well, I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe Nick knows.
unicorn. Wouldn't it be like a rare thing? Like the one-
Yeah.
I would equate it to a white elephant if I'm talking about real estate, but
Oh, now you're Hindu?
Yeah.
What's a unicorn?
I don't know. I'm not gay.
If you guys know what a unicorn is, drop it in the comments below because I'm not even sure what a unicorn is. But we got gators, we got unicorns, we got. all
wait,
kinds
it's a
of
real
stuff.
estate thing?
Yeah, no, it's a
You threw such a left curve. I had no idea where you're going with that. I was
Yeah,
like,
me
did I
neither.
just do something? Is
What's
it
this?
a
I don't-
shirt? I was like,
It's an agent investor.
oh,
Agent investor. They're an Asian investor?
yeah, I heard Asian.
Well, no.
So it's an invasion type deal,
No,
right? Like
now the Pornhub's banned in Texas. I don't know anything
they're
about
doing. I don't know.
that. So what I said
I don't want to get
yesterday,
into that one.
what I said yesterday was liquidity slowing down. Like liquidity in the marketplace is slowing down. That's a no-brainer. Retail stuff is not moving as fast as it was even 9 months ago. And what happens when velocity in the marketplace changes? Well, what happens is people that are good operators know how to buy better and know how to sell better because they use multiple exit strategies. People that don't know how to do any of that shit, they get desperate and they start doing some stupid stuff. So that's what I said. When liquidity dries up, fraud goes up. That's 100% true. Damn, I look really good. I'm going to keep these sunglasses.
Two out of our 8 deals that Jessica locked up last week were fraudulent.
Yeah, we
So-
probably had to drop that contract. And that has nothing to do with. Like, that
I'm
has
just
nothing to do with this kind of
stating
stuff.
you're finding it on the rise. It's nonstop.
So how do we know? Strangely enough, you pretty much just hit how we know because we did 8 freaking deals last week that we contracted direct to seller marketing. Turns out 2 of those were actually fraudulent deals. Someone was trying to sell someone's house that they didn't own, and that's kind of weird. So I mean that happens once in a while, but we're seeing this uptick a lot more. What else are we seeing on the lead side, Tony? Because we're seeing a big uptick in something else, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
We're defaults, short sales, basically people that are struggling. We talked about this a couple weeks ago with Kristen, and we said liquidity is down, right? There's just a lack of liquidity, and I think we're seeing it across every spectrum.
What's the last time? So we got 5 short sales on the board right now. I counted on Monday. I think it's 5. It's a good percentage. When's the last time, aside from like starting maybe September last year, that we actually had a short sale that we worked
Probably 15,
together?
15, 16. I mean,
Never.
us never.
Never.
Me, 15, 16 years.
I haven't done one in Texas.
That's a long time.
Fuck you. Oh, God damn it. Are we past the 10-minute mark?
No, but
5 minutes.
You're already
well past that.
All right. Well, that's all right. We'll just not make it a habit.
So, is it?
So we're not talking about short sale. We're not talking about short sale fraud in this talk. We'll talk about that in a different one.
Yeah, no,
I
think we're genuinely talking about.
I want to discuss these particular 2 deals, right? How they can be avoided, right? So where did they go wrong in the due diligence? How could they have been avoided, right?
So set it right here. Today, this is the last part. We're going to squat up, and we're going to talk about creative deals gone wrong, how we know, how to protect yourself from bad actors and bogus numbers. Yeah, I should have just read that. Wrote that in my underwear. Good visual for you guys. Tony, what's the deal here?
So I don't know if we want to share the screen here.
Yeah. Can we start and can I play the video of her rap video?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, that's
I want to set the stage for everybody, right?
Hold on, let me turn on the audio phones. You want to watch it too?
Yeah.
I want to react to it.
All right. So hold on.
Nick, you could just take the computer because I can see the screen and I don't
The
know.
video's on here, but gotta keep up with the hour.
Ah!
The
Yeah, algorithm.
When we go live.
Your everything's live.
All right,
You ready?
let's watch.
I want to make sure that
We are going to sell a wrap. I'm in Pittsburgh, but we're headed to Ligonier tomorrow to for a wrap property. If you want to know what a wrap is, stay freaking tuned, man, because we're gonna keep loading the content about this deal. I want more and more eyeballs to get on it because the more real estate agents and the more brokers who can learn the creative strategies to get a property sold, the more money that they're going to start making, especially in the year 2024. So let's go. Let's freaking get it. If you aren't making $500,000 a year as a real estate agent, it's because you don't know all these other skill sets you could be using to make money in this market. In any market, it's never the market and always the marketer. Remember that. We all want to have a crutch or an excuse, but it's never the market, always the marketer. Also, there's no such thing as a bad deal, just a bad structure, a bad closer.
So push pause.
she's in an apartment right now. I'm just saying that, right? I'm going out on a limb. She's going to be living in an apartment.
Don't hate on the girl for living in an apartment. It looks like a very nice apartment. What do you mean there's no bad deal? I've seen a bunch of bad deals.
Dude, she lost me like 30 seconds in.
Well, everything about this is painful, right? You're there. It's your fault that you're in your situation. I understand the reason why you're saying all these things, but you, right? Like,
Hey,
I think we're almost at, no, we're at 4.
We're
No,
at
9 minutes. Either way, it just pisses me off because
This page isn't monetized anyway, so it doesn't
That's
matter.
probably not going to be whatever.
Yeah.
Be honest, we're not going to make any money off of this page.
But again,
We're the view count, not the bank account.
she's using just clickbaiting things that she has no idea the ramifications of, right? Anything about these deals. The fact that she's talking about wraps that are illegal,
Well,
in some states,
let's.
right? Like,
I think
so-
the no bad deal thing in itself, because that's what you said.
Yeah,
Let's
that was my
talk about
question.
no bad deal, right? No bad deal to me means that you really haven't done enough deals to admit that you've seen a bad deal. That's the first problem.
Mhm.
Well,
Because-
let's break it down, because you can get yourself in a bad deal, but Okay, how do you? Well, actually, that's what I said too on some comments on my post. Best way to avoid bad deals is to not do a bad deal.
Well, yeah, or not. Oh, the best way to not get hurt in a fucking car accident is not to get in a car, right? No, well, you're going to be in real estate.
Yeah.
You're going to get into deals,
Mhm.
and you may make a mistake,
Mhm.
right? I think what we're highlighting here with this specific individual and this specific transaction is that she made it look like this was a good deal.
Mhm.
So she covered up the fact that it was a bad deal because she's, let's just say,
What about
not very educated on how to analyze a deal.
pay for some education?
She probably paid for the education that she's talking about, and she got someone else who we know into this deal, and this person's out of money, like out of pocket, 50 grand. She's not.
And in this deal particular, we're going to break down why they should never have been even
In the deal.
Yeah, it should never have been a deal, right? Never been proposed as a deal to
Mhm.
begin with. And then on top of it, I forgot, but it's just fucking fraudulent, right?
Yeah, huge uptick in creative deals gone bad in the marketplace. And what that means, it means easy money isn't easy anymore, which means it feeds into desperation.
But
it
it was
feeds into
never
people
easy.
trying to. No, well, it was
It was an
easy.
easy pitch for the people pitching it and teaching it. But I think one of the comments on your post last night, and you said like nailed it or whatever, was basically utilizing Subto to get into a transaction doesn't mean it's an easy deal.
No.
You still need to be prepared for out-of-pocket expenses. You still need to be prepared for the monthly payment if the end person, whether it's tenant or owner financed or whatever, right? You're still responsible for all of it.
Let's use a quick example in our office, actually. Which one? Look at that one, I think. Because we have a handful of rentals, right? And I have a collection that I've been collecting for the past couple of years. We had one pretty close to the office here. It used to be our former office. Nice little house. Was going to keep it forever. So a conservative, sensible thing. Bought it for 120. Put about 40, 50K into it. Refinanced it for about 160. So probably a little bit of money left in the deal, something like that. Currently worth about 350. So not bad in an equity position. But refinanced it at, what I said, like 160,
Yeah,
170, somewhere in there. I don't remember. Went conventional. So conventional at about 3.5%, 4%, because I did it a couple of years ago. And thought, hey, you know what? This thing's going to cash flow. When it's done cash flowing, I'm going to knock it over and build something really cool there. That's awesome. That'll be so much fun. What's up, Elizabeth? Anyway, and what are expenses that are outside of an investor's control? It's cash flowing about $700 a month. Investors outside or expenses outside of any investor's control are taxes in states where taxes aren't locked in on the purchase basis. So my favorite state on the left coast, California, that's actually something that they have that's a benefit over us in Texas. And insurance cost. And inside of a year, I know I just said California is better than Texas with one thing. You can hate all you want. Anyway, and with insurance cost, we had our overall PITI expense. So
That
everything
would be a bad deal.
went up 30%, 35% in a year. So now what's our exit strategy? Well, we have about 40% equity. We're going to sell the house because it's not a bad deal. It wasn't a bad deal.
The part that you missed in what your explanation was that we rented this thing for $200 or $300 more than what we thought we were going to rent it for.
Oh yeah.
And so it used to be, hey, if you're into something for $160,000, you should rent it for $1,595, $1,695. That was 1%, right? That's kind of like the golden thing.
The ballpark. I rented it for $2,200.
And we rented it for $2,195, $2,295, somewhere in there. And within 1 year, the profitability went out the window and all the cash flow was gone.
Yeah,
right?
we went from PITI
Sarah,
was 16, we went up to like 1950 or something like that.
Yeah, I think because I think that one is just over $2,000. It's like 2040, and the rent's 2195. So someone would be like, "Oh, you're still cash flowing." No, you're not, because you still have expenses, like tenant expenses, toilets, shit like that, and then vacancy.
So let's take her premise, because she says there's no bad deals, there's only bad structures.
Okay.
We got a 50%, 60% loan to value.
Mhm.
Bought it years ago, refinanced at a 3.5% interest rate, maybe 4%, I don't remember. Where's the bad structure in that?
There isn't.
No.
There isn't one.
Nick, what did I mess up?
You kept it for too long?
What?
I don't know.
No, the market's gone up. I'm gonna
Yeah,
sell that
no,
for some
like
money.
you're still able to, in that scenario, you're still able to make out, but no, it's no longer a burr, right?
I don't
It's no
wanna make
longer a rental. You're just gonna have to sell, and you're forced to
He
take
doesn't have to.
You're kind of forced
Right?
to, otherwise you're gonna lose on the
If that was
PITI.
his-
So
if that
if it's
was his-
cash flow.
If that was his only deal, and he was living off of that $500, $600, $700 a month to make his rent payment on his studio apartment, yeah, he'd be screwed, right? So if he had taken that
She looks
over,
like she lives in at least a one bedroom.
yeah,
Don't
if
pick
she's
on her.
taking that over as a sub two,
I wanna
and
say
banked on the $500 or $700. If she had, again, if she was analyzing that transaction and said, "Oh my God, I'm taking this sub two at 3.5% rate, conventional. There's only 60%, 70% LTV, right?" If you go into that deal thinking, "Oh my God, I'm going to get this huge monthly payment, cash flow," and then the market changes on you, and you're not prepared, you go and screw the underlying lien holder and mortgage person that you wrapped it from. Like, that's the other thing. She's talking about, we're going to buy a wrap. When was the last time you bought a wrap?
I've never bought a rep. I sold a rep once on an apartment complex.
Well, you utilize wrap is the transaction.
Mhm.
It's not the name of the deal.
For my apartment
So,
complex.
well, hold on. Let's talk about these. All right, we're getting way too off point. All right, so the deal at hand. All right, it was the reason why we know is because it was brought to a member of our mastermind,
Yeah.
and we're just trying to help them with it. Okay, what was the deal? What are the details of it? What was presented? Break it down for us, Tom. This way, everybody.
Are we sharing screen, or
we
are we
can.
just? Or, well, I just want to know if I'm
Not yet.
reading numbers or if we're sharing screen.
Tommy, we can share the screen if you want.
Yeah.
So what I did was
We'll
we
just
put it
go-
into our deal analysis.
Yeah,
and,
don't show this. Show the real list that I redacted first, then
Okay.
that.
all right,
So
perfect.
start here. So really, really, really simple. I open realist text and I instantly start vetting out the deal because it gives me about the most accurate data I can possibly see. The first thing that I noticed when I opened this was, holy crap, this thing just sold on MLS in April of 22. So I started thinking to myself, wow, 22 April, that's probably a really good interest rate. That was my first thought. I'm like, oh, this might be a good deal.
No bad deals, only bad structures.
So scroll down to the mortgage data. And this is where these, up a little bit, right there, right in that, this right there. In this screen is where I was like, wait a minute, she bought this. So we're looking at 2022, and then we're looking at mortgage history. I'm confused. Why does it say private party lender for that transaction in April of 2022? Do you see?
Down there at the bottom
Yeah, where it says
for 200,000.
Yeah.
Mm.
How did someone buy a deal off of MLS that turned into a sub two with a private party lender?
Because there's no bad deals, there's only bad structures.
So
And if you can sub to, you should sub to.
I just need to quit.
So what's wrong with this? What is raising the red flags to you, right?
Well,
What-
so that instant, that was the. So I looked at it. I saw the transaction. Thought, oh my God, this is going to be a good low interest rate. 30-year conventional loan.
but it could have been a 30-year conventional, 30-year private lender loan for 3%. No. No, what happened to the private lender? The private party could very well have done a 3% loan for this fine person.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't fucking exist.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, so that was the first thing. Okay, and I started scratching my head. But then I saw this other transaction in October of 23 for 211. Same thing, private party lender. And I was like, wait a minute. So where is my buddy that called me for help on this? Which one is he involved in, and where is he at? Right?
Oh, what's this house worth?
It comps out at like 2.25.
We can get the numbers right here.
240, somewhere in there.
So what number did the lovely lady in the apartment, what number did she tell the sub two guy with cash that the house would sell for?
She told him that it was going to sell for $299.
What would it sell for right now in this market, in our opinion?
245.
That's pushing it. All right,
So,
let's go with 250. It's a nice round number.
you know,
So what are we looking at here? What did you put on pen to paper
Well,
for us?
so what I tried to do was a lot for some. I was trying not to beat up the lovely apartment girl for saying that it was worth 300. So I gave them consideration that they would update it a little bit. If you want to go back to the PDF, you could actually scroll through the house. Yeah, now you could just scroll up and look at the photos. I mean,
It
I don't
needs
know
updating.
I don't know about you.
That's
But-
the exact kitchen we put in our $1 million flips, Tony, right there.
I mean,
You
that's
can repurpose those cabinets.
yeah.
as is.
That there's zero deferred
Hold on,
maintenance
what's that
needed.
shit?
Yeah, that's paneling.
Oh my god, I
Yeah.
thought I was seeing it wrong.
No, it's paneling and carpet. Oh man, I grew up with that carpet. That's like the '80s shag. Like
That's retro. We can
Yeah.
put it in your house.
yeah.
Everything needs
And then the
popcorn
tile.
everywhere.
That tile. Oh man, it's got a red light. Oh, and the toilet seats
Oh,
are
that's the
up.
49-cent
Yes,
special from
that's-
2010.
Yeah. It was in Navajo white and Navajo tan. I think they were.
I love Navajo white.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
painted so many houses brown.
So-
So clearly priced, clearly repaired at full ARV level in its current condition,
Absolutely,
with a purchase price of, what is the Subto purchase price?
212.
Okay.
Wait. Sorry. Throw a pin in that grenade.
I already threw it.
His mortgage balance is 212,
Mhm.
but he came out of pocket 30 grand in arrears.
So what's the elephant in the room? The elephant in the room is our Subto buyer bought a property with a private money loan from a person that was now $30,000 in arrears on a private money loan.
Yes.
So there's a private money loan. So that's some dude with an IRA that's going to get screwed. No, it's true.
Yeah,
Let me
it was,
put it out
and it
there.
was,
He's
it's,
going to get
it's a
screwed.
Quest IRA loan, like the none of the.
Gonna name names.
You don't need to name
Jeez.
names.
I mean, not that. My point
Well-
of naming that is that they do their own due diligence on it too, right? So take that into a.
You know, people are trying to piss off on it.
I don't give a shit. We just fucking. I had her Facebook open. I don't care.
Oh, that's different. I mean, I don't mind talking shit about her. She doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah. So we have you could bleep out, even though we're live. You could go back in time and then give me the winning lotto numbers for last night. That would be great. And then we'll put our IRA money to go.
That's bad
to
news,
work.
by the way, about the winning lottery numbers last night. If I'd won, I wouldn't be here right now.
Oh.
So I'm
Yeah,
just
you
saying.
would have. Actually, you know what?
No, I totally
We
would
would have been going to get that Aston that I sent you a link of.
in our jet.
So this person is, and Tommy, you took me off. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I have the breakdowns. Oh, it's right here. I have the breakdown. This is all of the money, and you can pull this back up. This is all of the money that our friend investor has put into this deal, right?
Let's specify. No offense to the person that's like the investor on this. He's not in our education program. He's not in our mastermind. He's a friend of a friend that asked us to look into it. So we're not gonna.
And then I challenged the friend, our friend, on whether or not he should keep that friend as a friend.
Oh,
because
he's a nice guy.
Well, the thing is like this is pitched to him as, hey, you're going to be a capital provider for this deal. You're going to instantly have equity. We're going to be able to turn around and recapitalize.
we're going to
So-
turn around and sell it in 90 days.
Yep.
For a 60 grand, for a 30 grand profit, and we're each going to make 15 grand. So all you have to do is put up what he was pitched was 25 grand, right? The 24.
Mhm.
Okay, well that's what he was pitched, and then he turn around and they would just instantly put the house back on MLS without any repairs for $299.
Dude, it's that easy?
I'm just curious how you could take a house that was just listed less than 2 years ago from MLS and sold at
Tony,
ARV
the market's gone up significantly in the last 2 years.
and then
So-
sell it for $50K over ARV in the same condition without any updates,
I was kidding. The market softened about 10% in the last 2
at least, especially in certain
Trying
pockets.
to
So
the thing to highlight here, right, is he bought a deal. Then they're turning around and they're correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't they renting it to?
Oh, we didn't even get into the.
No, I know.
We didn't even get into the
We
bad
haven't
part.
even got into any of the bad part, right?
Yeah,
all
we
of this
literally.
leading up-
I'm just harping on the numbers.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about the tomfoolery that's fucking around on this
Okay.
thing.
So step one is buy better with better numbers, because everyone overpays on properties once in a while. Everyone makes that kind of mistake.
Never.
But we've never made that mistake, at least in the last, I would say, month and a half. But you're right. The actual issue of this property is in the paperwork stack,
Mhm.
and what's happening now with the actual owner and with the seller, and with apparently a wrap in the middle that is irrelevant, like is completely redundant and doesn't make any sense. Not even counting the fact that the purchase money and the Subto money is the 401k money at 11.5%.
Interest only.
Interest only.
So
That's the part we haven't even gotten to.
Oh, well,
So
let's get into that.
well, that lovely 24,000
Yeah.
that our friend
Our friend's friend.
paid was pure interest to the underlying lien.
Because
It
it
wasn't
was
a
a hard money
reinstatement.
loan. It's an interest only loan. There's no principal pay down on it. It's not a legal loan because it's a hard money loan, which is a non-owner occupied financing.
Let's go back up to.
And this person's now living there.
Yeah, let's back up.
Mhm.
Because you just actually lied.
I
I'll
do.
explain to you.
Oh.
Go to the top of this page.
Cool. Correct me
So-
if I'm wrong.
So here's where it is, right?
Part of
We
the
had that
redacted.
sale date of April 28th, 2022 on MLS, right? And then I went down and I was like, wait, how did that person get that loan from a private party and then is living in it? I'm confused. So we dive into
Wait, hold on. I think we bypassed that. So the buyer got a, so they took a Subto from the seller, right?
Yeah.
And the seller
Yep.
has a loan on the property.
Yep.
And the seller's living in the property.
Yep.
Okay, let's make sure we spell that out.
Yep.
So the seller that sold the property to the buyer
Yep.
is living in the property. Mistake one. Mistake two, she has a hard money loan on the property and she's living in the property.
Mhm.
Good for her.
Wait, do you want to know the extra layer in there?
Oh, there's another layer.
She doesn't have a lease with our friend.
Oh, no lease. And she's been,
Oh.
and this transaction was bought when, in September?
Yeah.
Ah.
So
Yeah.
our side, he
September
paid
28th.
the November mortgage. Supposedly she paid the last three. The only way he knows this is because that lender hasn't called and said, "Hey, you're late." So,
Okay, so the seller, this $23,000 to Capital Title, was paid for the arrearage on the hard money loan that the seller was living in the house for, and she's still in the house.
Yes. With
So
no
she
lease.
wasn't paying the mortgage, and now she is paying the mortgage.
Yes.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, hopefully she has a nonprofit organization that he can write off the losses to. But
We can write
So-
off losses anyway, only nonprofit.
well, so I think
No, nonprofit, come work for us.
I think the interesting thing is that go back to the video in the beginning. You don't have to go back to the video actually. But what I'm getting at is if you go back to the video,
While you
Where
guys
she's
while you
saying-
guys are backing up this video on the replay that you guys are doing, because I know you guys love this page, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because we need to push that 100,000 number thing. We need to get one of those plaques, one of those cool plaques we're hanging on the wall right back here if we get one. And then don't forget to turn on the notifications and smash the like button. It helps out for the algorithm. That's how we're going to get to the 100,000 subscriber thing. As you're going back and rewatching that video. And then when you're done rewatching the video, fast forward to this point right here, and let's keep going. Sorry, what were you saying?
yeah. So I was just going to say that you just going back to her video and her pitch on buying a wrap, you're a fucking moron. The second thing is,
At least we're past 10 now.
she somehow convinced our friend's friend that this was a Subto and not a wrap. Meanwhile, every document that I reviewed had wrap language, and it was a wrap note and deed of trust. So he's on the hook to the lady that's living in it.
Mhm.
So, but he doesn't have access to the house.
So let's
He doesn't have a lease from her either. So I don't know
So-
how, but how do you sell me something and then lease it back and then don't collect payments? I'm going to pay the mortgage person. I'm going to go in front of an eviction judge on that? On what? There's no paperwork
in Dallas County.
in Dallas County.
So Traditional sub-2 transaction is telling you have a loan on a house. I'm going to buy the house. Your loan is for 150K. I'm going to buy because I'm a nice guy. I'm going to give you 2,500 bucks over that. So I'm going to give you 150 to 500. You're going to GTFO of the house.
I'm happy.
And you're happy. I'm going to then start making payments on your behalf. Is that accurate?
Yes.
So that your credit is no longer getting screwed up, which is nice. I'm a nice guy. I'm going to rent that house out for, I don't know, we're going to call PITI. I'm going to rent the house out for 2,200 bucks. I'm going to make some money. You're going to get your credit fixed, and you're fine. How long am I going to let you stay in that house after I bought your house?
We would have a predetermined, I'm going to assume, we would have a predetermined seller lease back for maybe a week.
Okay.
Because that 500 bucks that you're giving me, I'm going to go put that as a deposit on my studio apartment. Then I'm going to go move into.
And if you don't move out, what do I do?
You get to evict me.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Right. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to leave half of my $2,500 that you're going to give me as a deposit on the temporary.
Oh, that sounds very fair.
So then basically in a week, and I say, here, TJ, here are the keys. You're going to say, here's your other money. Right?
It's got to come from title.
Yeah.
But yeah, that depends. No, I mean, that's how you traditionally structure something like this. Now let's throw a wrap in there because we want to have some fun. A wrap is when there's an underlying lien. So you have this loan in your name. You're at 3.5%. For some reason, you want to now sell it to me, and you want to have maybe an interest rate differential. So you want to sell me a loan that has, in this previous example, the primary loan was 150K. Let's bump it up. You're going to sell this house to me for 180K. We're going to throw in a wrap. So we're going to keep the existing lien there at 3.5%. And we're going to have now a new loan to me for $180,000 at 5%. Legal?
Yes.
Okay. Why on this transaction?
Insert that little, what is it, little thing?
Asterisk?
Yeah, the asterisk. It's legal as long as it's not an FHA loan.
Okay.
If it's a government-backed Fannie or Freddie loan, you cannot do a wrap. They are illegal in the United States of America. You can only wrap conventional loans.
Anyway, irregardless, can you wrap a hard money loan? Boom,
Yes.
got him. I got him. I got him. Can you wrap a hard money loan?
Yes.
Why would I do that as a sophisticated seller that knows what he's doing? Probably not. But I think there's one circumstance. Why would you do it as a seller that just has a random loan that then wants to collect an interest rate differential? Why would you do that as a wrap? Well, because you want to keep collecting payments.
Yeah.
And you want to keep that differential. But you also want to maintain a level of control in the middle of the transaction. So if I default, right, then you can foreclose on me, take the property back, and you can start making payments again on the loan in your name.
Yes.
Okay. Why is there a wrap on this transaction?
I have no idea. I can't
I'm
figure it
asking
out.
him now.
Just get it done.
Doesn't make any sense.
No,
Just
just
throwing extra paperwork at a problem that doesn't.
it's
need a
because
solution.
again,
And she doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know what she's selling. She's absolutely either criminal because she's giving out wrong information, or she's just
go with dumb because
God damn it, guys.
I think dumb is better than criminal.
no, I mean I'm not going to go ahead and assume that she's doing this criminally, right? Like she's just trying to. She thinks she's as smart as Pace, right?
Hey.
Wait a minute. Wait.
That's the problem.
Hand grenade. Do you know why she's dumb? I know why. I have the answer. You know why?
Why?
Because she did this entire transaction and didn't get paid.
Well, no. Let me back up because what I was going to go to is if you look at from her angle, she doesn't have a dollar into this. She doesn't have a hair into this. It's all free to her.
Yes.
So her
That's why I'm
agreement is literally 50% ownership of any net profit, but there is not going to be any net profit because the deal is so effed up. She's so dumb that her solution to this was to text the guy and say, hey, listen, I just found out that the underlying mortgage is probably fraudulent, and I think we can get that thrown out. So we can get you the house just by getting the original mortgage. There's not a chance in hell she does that, right?
Well, no, there actually is.
Well,
There actually
There
There
actually
actually
is,
is a
but there's
chance.
no way in hell that
Wait a
she's
minute.
keeping it.
I was about to say, but back up a second, because you asked, how do we know that she's, I said she's dumb. You said, well, criminal. And I said, no, she's dumb. The way I know she's dumb is because she didn't get paid to do this. If she was criminal, she would have found some way to get paid up front, right? And then she would have walked away on our boy.
Mm.
Right now, she thinks, this is why she's dumb. She thinks she's helping our friend of a friend by getting a mortgage or a title attorney involved on the occupant, seller, tenant's behalf
Mhm.
to go fight the hard money loan and say, you gave me a loan to buy a house that I live in,
Mhm.
but there you didn't adhere to Dodd-Frank, therefore that invalidates the loan, and you owe me the house for free.
Is that ethical?
Plus all the back payments and interest, and then interest and all that garbage.
Is that ethical?
Which part? Challenging the loan?
Challenging the loan. I think that's the question.
I think challenging the loan is there's a valid reason to challenge the loan. Now, where the guy, hard money lender, in his position, he better have the appropriate non-owner occupied,
Disclosure to the
all
docs.
those loan docs in there that say this was hard money. You're not allowed to live in it. The second you live in it, it invalidates this loan, and you can call the no do, all that garbage. If he let her stay, and if he acknowledged that that's her primary and didn't invalidate the loan, yeah, I'm going to say that he's going to wind up in like giving this house to the lady for free. Here's the other reason why this lady's dumb. Actually, wait, she's kind of smart for this.
I was gonna say, maybe she's smarter than us. I've never
Well,
I never got someone's loan wiped away that way.
Well,
On accident,
here's
right?
the thing.
On accident.
Here's the thing, though. If you get the loan invalidated, and the lady wrapped the house to you,
Mhm.
doesn't that invalidate your wrap?
I think so.
And then you being the owner, doesn't that mean that you have to give the house back to the lady
Yeah, I
who
think
got the loan for free?
That's the way I would interpret the law. Yes.
I mean, that's Texas homestead, right? You fuck around with Texas's homestead laws, and you're gonna be out some money.
Tony, I want to say a phrase. And I want to get your honest reaction to this. There's no bad deals, only bad deal structures.
I think that you should go back to high school.
Not one of those guys that peaked in high school. You know those guys that are like, you get together.
Wait a
and you're,
Are you saying that you actually peaked?
No, I'm not one of those guys. You get together like 10 years, maybe your 10-year high school reunion. I haven't had mine yet, but you get there and you see the hot. I already passed my 20. I didn't go. You see the hot chick that like you had a crush on since like 9th grade, and then
You married the hot chick.
yeah, prom queen, cheerleader, yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, fine. Sorority, like president, whatever.
She got brains too.
But you get there at like the 10-year reunion, and
She's
you see
smarter
that, and
than
you're
all three
like,
of us.
oh man, I kind of dodged a bullet. And then you get together with high school friends. No offense to my high school friends, but most of y'all unfriended me during COVID because I was right and y'all were wrong. So you get together with them, and they talk about how awesome high school was, and I'm like, was it? Because I've had a pretty awesome life since high school. That was a good man.
But I think that
So don't peak in high school.
When
I don't want to go back to high school.
when you're buying this deal, or if you're analyzing this deal, right? Let me look at it that way. If somebody pitches you this deal, how would they have seen all these loan docs? And like, I'm trying to tee you up, but they're all privy on the title side, right? So when
he doesn't even have the underlying loan docs.
thank you. That's what I want to get to. So part of due diligence is you have to read every document of every property you're closing on. All these loan documents he's privy to, part of title, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So on that initial title search, when he gets it, he should have had a book that he could have sat down and read, right? Before closing. I feel really bad for him.
So when you do a Subto, the title company should pull all the underlying documents because it's like the same as an assignment of the contract on a wholesale deal. If Tony, you contract a deal at $100,000, I'm a sucker. I'm going to give you $200,000 for that deal, and you're going to assign it to me.
Yep.
Now, what you're doing is turning over your underlying contract, your rights and your responsibilities underneath that contract to me for an assignment fee, a different price, which means that now the contract's mine, not yours. That's what an assignment means, which means that I should be looking at it.
Oh, you want to read it?
I mean, you can cross out the price because I know you got it for $100,000.
Yeah, but why do you want to read it?
To make sure that I'm buying something that isn't going to screw me.
Oh, I didn't know that we read underlying docs.
Well, sometimes we missed it.
Well, so in this situation, he said to me, I didn't buy a wrap. I bought a Subto. I'm not kidding. I was driving when I read the text, and I almost rear-ended the car in front of me.
Don't text and drive.
It was bad.
That's not legal. You just admitted to having a misdemeanor on camera. You just admitted to a misdemeanor.
Well, he followed that up with "not my smartest moment," or what do you say?
No, not. I wasn't. I was embarrassed. I mean, I was embarrassed, and I called my friend, not the guy, and I said, "You need to have a come to Jesus talk with your friend because he just said X, Y, Z to me, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. He needs to get the loan docs from the title company that he did the wrap on so that he could read the terms. This loan probably ballooned already."
Oh, I'm sure it did. But
typical hard money loans are only 6 to 12 months anyway. So this is 2 years out, right? 22. Yeah. So absolutely.
So Nick, how do you do this transaction correctly? I think that's the next question that you're kind of bumping up into.
Well, this one is one where you educate and you turn around and you send her back to do a price reduction and all of that, right? Like, hey, listen, this isn't a deal. Well, actually, price reduction doesn't fucking solve this just because the actual underlying issues. But no, on this one, you educate and you turn around and you turn them into a bird dogger, right? Like you make her smarter and you say, hey, listen, I'll do these type of deals, but no, you're going to have to do them right.
Tommy, exit strategy on this deal that makes any sense, assuming the seller's facts? Is there an exit strategy that makes sense on this deal?
If the loan
prior to this guy buying it.
Well, so if I get this call to review this transaction,
yes,
and I found out what I found out just by opening up Realist tax data, I instantly question before anything, and I just start digging into it. Now, maybe you go down the road of short selling and helping the guy who loaned the lady in it the money. You help him out, and you find an exit that's amicable for all parties.
Yeah,
that's what I do. I grab control and then I say, okay, you are the hard money lender. You're about to get screwed because you loan money to a lady that's living in the house. You lady that's living in the house, you're 30 grand behind. How much money do you need to get into the apartment, right? And then you try to like piece it together. If that's not possible, throw this deal in the goddamn shredder.
I think you're right. So if we got this lead in from the seller, who, as far as we know, is a nice enough person. Like, as far as we know, she's not trying to do anything fraudulent. But whatever, that's beside the point.
Yeah.
If we get this lead in from our fancy lead sources that are better than everyone else's in town, we see two exit strategies. I think we see a potential short sale where we try to explain things to the private lender, like, look, dude, sorry, it sucks, but here's the situation. Maybe if there's more equity than this, probably about 30K more, maybe we look at doing a novation where, again, we gain control of the transaction, try to list the property on the MLS, and try to negotiate a successful exit for all parties in that respect. Neither one of those are ideal circumstances because with the equity spread of a loan at 220, and a price at maybe 240, there's no equity in the deal.
None.
So the way you avoid this thing is get a second. If you don't know how to do comps, if you don't know how to do figuring out what the ARV is on a property, you guys are making my
my brain hurt. I mean,
the civil
what
or criminal statute on the claiming that FHA illegal. We'll find that for you later. Oh damn, we've gotten people getting crushed.
Okay, you want to know?
Yeah, you can pull it
I'll
up.
fucking get you the statute.
Is
it statute of limitations or statute?
Oh geez, that's horrible. That's absolutely horrible.
It's from.
Well, you're picking that up, right? I wanna touch on the thing that bugs me, right, on this is that
you didn't put this in Subto, did you, Tommy?
No.
I'm just saying, that might be why we're getting some of the hate comments. Hey guys, keep the hate comments coming. We love the interaction.
No, nothing like that.
We know Sohail. The other guys are
Yeah. But the thing that bugs me on this is, again, this guy, this poor soul that is into this deal for 37. I forget what the numbers we've shown, 37 plus whatever. Hope
40
to see
grand,
more.
conversation's sake.
40 grand. That he has no hopes of seeing again. He was enticed into this as an easy, low risk deal, right? Fast turnover, and it's because you're going to be a gator lender. You're going to be a transactional funder. You're going to be something that is unique, and you're going to do more of these deals. And I'm watching the marketing of it. I see it. I appreciate it. But the disconnect is when you teach uneducated people to go turn around and educate and lock up deals that way. They're going to find bad deals. They're not going to, again, they're not doing it maliciously or ill intent. They're just.
So what makes this deal better? Let's do that while he's looking for the statute. What makes this deal better? With all the facts of the property, except for let's change the ARV. Let's pump the ARV up to 330.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes the deal better. That makes it not a bad deal, because this is a bad deal. As bought, this is a bad deal. There is no structure to this deal that makes this deal a good deal, regardless of there's no bad deals, only bad structures. There's no good situation that makes this a good deal, except for if we pump the ARV up about 75K, if we make the house relatively fixed up on the interior, where we're only spending 20, 30K, where we don't do any kind of wrap, because there's no reason for a wrap to the seller. There's no reason to secure any interests or secure any safety for the seller in this transaction. There is an interest of paying the seller to go away and getting her out of the house and gaining control of the transaction. So we fix it by doing that. So we do no lease back, or if we do a lease back, we evict her as soon as the lease back period is over. And then, we have a lot of comments. That's awesome. And then we sell the house quickly. So I think the biggest two issues on this property is the value is 75K below where it should be, and the person that's claiming to be the expert in the transaction isn't taking control of the transaction.
No.
So, and that's one of the biggest risks we have. Well, 13 people watching.
That's all of her safeties is because she has so little control. She has no skin in this game, right? Lenders always use that term. Qualifying investors, they need to have some form of skin in the game. Otherwise, this person, what is she? She's got a JV agreement. She's going to get 50% of the property. She's got all upsides, no downsides.
Do you know how I knew? I'm smarter than Kevin O'Leary. I'm not richer, but I'm smarter than him. Do you know
Mr. Wonderful?
Yeah, Mr. Wonderful.
Aren't you Mr. Fabulous?
I have nicer hair than he does. Do you know how I knew that Sam Bankenfried? Tommy, help me out here.
Yeah, that's good.
SBF?
Yep.
Didn't he just get locked up for how many years?
25 years, bro.
You know how
he's going to keep those sex parties going.
Yeah, I saw his girlfriend. I just saying, would not smash. But, that's just me. A solid 2.5. I mean, I know I'm not in my 20s anymore, but I would pass on that. No offense to, I'm sure she was a nice lady. You know how I know I'm smarter than Mr. Wonderful?
Yeah.
And how I knew that SBF was going to defraud the whole crypto thing? Because he didn't do it for the money. If you don't do it for the money, what are you doing it for? He doesn't like Lambos. He doesn't even have new shoes. He doesn't have an airplane. What's he doing? He's given to social justice causes. He's given the DNC. That's fine. I don't care which party you give money to. But that's his entire purpose, is to give money to stuff to
That
impact
was just
policy.
his legal fund, though, I think.
It might have
That
been.
was just his security fund that did not pay out.
So the red flag with anything like that, and it's how you avoid a lot of, and I'm being a little facetious, but the red flag for me anyway is who's getting paid, why are they getting paid? Are they getting paid a fair amount for what they're doing? And if the answer to any of those things is no one, what's their motivation? Why are they doing it? So in this situation, the motivation for the Subto expert.
I invited her on too. I
Yeah,
said last
defend
week
herself.
that we were going to go live, but she never responded.
So the motivation of that expert is a potential payout in 3 to 6 to 9 months of half of a potential $30,000 payday, which is $15K. Okay, that's fine. Do I trust you? I trust you, I think. Do I trust you to maybe give me $15K in 6 months? And do you actually fulfill all these different steps of the transactional process between now and 6 months from now, and the expectation of maybe getting 15K. If everything goes absolutely right and all the dominoes fall down, I'm going to say no. So no. Now, what happens when something goes wrong? Well, what happens when something goes wrong is you have no money in the deal. You have nothing on the line. When stuff starts tanking, he has nothing on the line except for his, not getting locked up.
Yeah.
So in a transaction like this, and I bumped into this with short sales before when there's wraps and stuff involved. In a transaction like this, if the person in the middle of the deal inserting themselves in the transaction isn't having a clear-cut way for benefiting relatively quickly on the transaction, when shit goes wrong and when a market slows down, this house has gone down in value, not up in value. When a market slows down, the person that doesn't have anything on the line, even if they have responsibility, doesn't do shit. And that's how you avoid getting defrauded by people that don't know what they're doing. You should go back and watch that, guys. That was good.
Jason's talking about, right, the government payment was his insurance policy.
Oh, that's true.
And it did work for a while. But at the end of the day, you piss off enough Americans, man, you can't stay out.
So it's in 1990, HUD, Housing and Urban Development, instituted a law that basically says that you can be sanctioned, they're criminal, and they are wrapping a FHA insured loan is, I'm going to say criminal because that's how I read it.
We can put a link in the comments.
We'll actually put the link to the good luck reading the law.
All right. Let's see. From last night, my post promoting this comment was, ARG, they're running the creative space. They're ruining the creative space now. And that's a danger, right? Because what happens when more shady stuff like this goes into the marketplace? Well, more regulation comes in to clamp down on it. You get more Dodd-Frank stuff. And is there some good benefits to Dodd-Frank? I would argue there probably are some. There's not many. Mostly it made things a lot more difficult and expensive for the consumer, but it's not a Dodd-Frank conversation. More regulation in the industry basically means that there's too many jerk-offs in the industry that are trying to get a piece of something without knowing what they're doing. Let's see. I'm going to read that comment.
I see, and it's scary because I see so many wholesalers advertising their Subto deals, right? And you know they're just...
The one from your friend where he...
Oh, Andrew?
Yeah, well, it was either him or the other one, and I said solid because he was joking around about skinny jeans, people in skinny jeans.
Oh, I'm getting there.
Because I think it was a very valid point that just because you're able to do creative financing doesn't make the transaction less risky, more risky, right? Good or bad. Like, it's just another style. Comparing skinny jeans to someone
in our next video, in our next video, we have a potential topic. We could talk about showing people how to get due on sale insurance. That's a good idea. We could talk about that and the debunking the hottest thing in the industry. Oh, I was waiting for that.
Yeah, no.
Well, hold on, because we're never gonna. I've been marketing this, talking about the two deals. We've ran this entire time talking about this one absurd deal. Well, there's another deal, right?
Mr. Tingle is saying, I've been talking about this for over 3 years, that batshit crazy stuff has been taught right now is going to cause things to be put into place that impact all of us stupid. There's ways to do, so there are good deals, there are bad deals, and there are ethical ways to do business, and there are unethical ways to do business. Yes. There are unethical ways to do business legally. You probably shouldn't do that because it might send you to hell. And then there are unethical ways to do business illegally.
Can you imagine where you go through both of them?
The more unethical stuff that happens in the marketplace, the more false memos they put on deals, the more bad Subto deals, the more investors get screwed, then the more regulation that comes into the industry. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't care. We close on stuff, we buy stuff that will never be outlawed, and we sell stuff. So it's not going to affect us, but it makes the barriers to entry higher. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. Mr. Jeff says, many people doing so too are playing Russian roulette. I left my revolver in the desk. That would have been a great prop. Who started teaching underfunded investors and wholesalers how to do sub-2 deals, even though they aren't financially positioned to maintain the deal. Go back and watch the first part of this video where I outline just one of our rentals that had an increase of 30% in costs, and that's just one risk.
Yeah, but I think he was asking who actually teaches these idiots
You
that can't afford shit to do deals
in fact,
that are going to cost a lot of shit.
and I don't think it's fair to say that we have a problem with a guy teaching this. We have a problem with the people that are practicing this poorly.
Yes,
I never
Yeah,
have a problem
absolutely.
with someone teaching information.
absolutely.
No.
Now, giving the information is one thing.
Mhm.
Giving bad information is another thing.
This is a good one. I despise gubby interventions and controls, but when they kick the door down, I won't be shocked at all when they start to take scalps. Talk about day trading now? Scalps?
It's been 20 years. July 3rd, being real estate for 20 years. So I'm not 20 years.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know. There's always a threat of, oh, this is criminal. This is gonna get banned. This is gonna get outlawed. This person's gonna get locked up. I don't think anyone's coming to lock these people up. I do hope that the barriers of entry go up so that we have less idiots doing transactions, less dumb people screwing people out of money. Now, is this buyer screwed? He could probably make his money back some way, right? I don't want to help him at this point because it's just so layered and dumb. And it's his own fault. Hey, buddy, Bob, that's your fucking education. That was his 40 grand that he lost on this deal was his education to network better and get out of that group and know who's bringing him stuff.
Is this about stoned gurus and skinny jeans? I have absolutely no idea what this individual is talking about on my comment feed. My buddy with iSpeed Delete, we're going to get on a call with him next week and probably live stream that on the webpage. Dude, 100% or 1,000%. That's even better. I love it when my calls go 1,000%. But by the way, let's have you live on iSpeed Delete YouTube. Would love to do it. Absolutely. Subto baby, the group is filled with a lot of special people.
Yeah. I mean,
and actually a pretty well thought out comment. My friend Adam, who once said, the good deal you pass on or miss is never as costly as the bad deal you do. Lots of folks buying bad deals left and right. I highly anticipate that the next bust to come in a Subto world as an operator with liquidity, that means money, I'm adjusting accordingly for what will invariably come down the pipeline for existing deals taken in Subto. So I think that's a good point too. There's good Subto deals also. We've done a bunch.
We have rentals that are great Subtos. They're performing, but we keep them as good deals.
Don't go in undercapitalized.
Yeah.
Don't go in wrapping some hard money loan at 11%. Let's see what we have here. Shelby Smith says, I'm late to the party. Have we talked about the douche canoe wholesale yet? No, we haven't talked about him yet. Don't worry about him.
That's Tony's new friend, actually.
We gotta-
They're BFFs
You'll
now.
meet them this month.
Yeah.
We invited him to the mastermind.
Yeah, Shelby, if you come on Thursday, that's what she said.
Most real estate laws,
He'll
some
be
of the
here.
gun laws, they're typically hurt the good people more than the crooks and thieves. That's probably accurate. What is Mr. Chambers? He says,
The gay brother's going to get me a sexual harassment charge.
are you touching my ass?
No, you're saying inappropriate things over there.
It's inappropriate.
Holy crap, daisy
I'm
chaining
telling her if
subject
she
to
shows up to the mastermind.
hard money. No, that's exactly what happened. Let's wrap it up.
Well, to Nick's credit, we didn't talk about the other one. This one was bad enough.
The other one was just as horrible. When I was talking to the individual, trying to explain it. Are you a gator lender? No. I'm a capital provider for this. Oh, Jesus Christ. Right? And it dawned on me in what he was. And this poor gentleman bought it. He was into a deal. Same thing. Bought the Reveres, paid for the entrance fee. He ended up having to foreclose on his partner in that deal just to get his underlying position in a position of power. Right? He actually funded and put in a second.
Here's the thing.
So he wasn't even the first on.
And then we could probably end on highlighting on what Nick just said. There's two positions in this world that you want to be in. You either want to be the lender or you want to be the owner. Now, if you're the owner, you don't have to be the lender. If you are the lender, you could be the owner. But you don't want to have like a JV relationship. So in our buddy Bob's situation, he put up all the money. He owns 50% of this property.
Mhm.
The stupid girl owns the other 50%. So even if he gets the lady out, he doesn't own it. He only owns half of it. He's got to somehow get her off.
So the better situation from a risk management standpoint,
That's what she said.
better situation from a risk management standpoint would be a JV agreement on the side or a joint entity, something like that, where you have
Yes.
executive control of the entity where you can dispose of the property without
Or just the JV agreement and if I'm putting up all the money,
it's in my name.
it's in my name. In this situation, the other guy, he put up all the money and he wasn't even on the deed originally. He was just a second lien holder. So again, these people aren't being taught how purchasing and title and hierarchy of liens goes. And so they're doing shit that they don't know, like how deep the risk pool is.
What's the saying?
Know what you own.
I don't know what you own. Something about the cost of
Don't put a
cheap
screen
education.
door in a submarine.
I don't know about that. Okay, so quick information. These guys are whoever Facebook user is. I love you, especially since you're digging the interior sunglasses. It's very bright in here. I need to get tan though. I need to like spray paint or something. I'll talk to my wife about like a spray on tan. Guys, if you like more podcasts like this, follow us on the YouTube page. 90,000 followers. 90,000 people can't be wrong. It's just mathematics. At least not all of them can be wrong. Statistically, pretty much impossible. It's like the likelihood of a election getting swung at 2 a.m. in Georgia with a water pipe burst. If you want to see more podcasts like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Get us past the $100,000. That'd be cool. I want 100 grand. 100,000 subscriber thing, so we can get a record up on our wall. And we'll see you in the next one. Damn, I got some.